Welcome to the Airbnb Roadmap, the podcast designed to navigate you through the entire journey of short-term rental success. Whether you're just starting out or ready to take your hosting game to the next level. My husband and I became super hosts within just months of launching our first Airbnb and have proudly kept that title ever since. With over 350 reviews and an overall 4.95 star rating, we picked up a hack or two I'm excited to share with you. In each episode, I break down the strategies, insights, and industry secrets that set profitable short-term rentals apart. From choosing the right property, understanding local regulations, and obtaining your listing to go beyond just the basics. I'm here to share everything you need to succeed. So if you're ready to map out your path to Airbnb success and unlock the full potential of short-term rentals, join me on the Airbnb Roadmap. Your journey starts here. Hey, I'm Brittany Wenninger with From Porch Realty, powered by Real Broker LLC, and welcome back to another episode of the Airbnb Roadmap podcast. Today's episode is all about what is actually happening right now in my life. So we got another house under contract and we will be converting that into another Airbnb. And if you listen to the last episode, I mentioned that it is a 2-for-1 deal. And you're probably like, what the hell does that mean? Let me tell you. A 2-for-1 deal is when you can get 2 Airbnb listings from one property. This is like the slam dunk, the holy grail. Like, I don't even know. It's an amazing opportunity. Let's just say that. It's a golden nugget. And pretty much, yes, every single duplex is technically 2-for-1 deal. But this situation, it's not a duplex. It's a normal primary home, and that has a detached garage, and it has an ADU above it. And this ADU is actually in amazing shape. And how the property is pretty much laid out is that we can easily separate them. So we can have, the primary property be the main Airbnb, have all the, like a theater room, game room, the whole shebang. And then the detached garage with the ADU on top, that one will be a smaller Airbnb, but that's going to be more toward like a wellness theme. And I'm super excited about this because, well, first off, again, 2-for-1, like, holy shit. And second, I told Clay, and, Clay was agreeing with me because he always does, is that we want to launch 2 more by the end of the year. Well, we can do that with this property without feeling very overwhelmed. And we're kind of like knocking both out at the same time. So it's pretty freaking awesome. I am really excited. But let's actually get into the episode. And this one is all about, what do you do right when you hear the words under contract? Because the assumption is often, the hard part's done, it's behind you, the search is over, the offer was accepted, and now it's just the waiting game until the closing. But if you're planning to run your property as a short-term rental, that mindset can cost you weeks of time and thousands of dollars in missing revenue. Escrow isn't downtime. I repeat, escrow is not downtime. It's one of the most valuable windows you have to actually prepare for your launch. So today I want to break down everything that you need to know and honestly should be doing while you are under contract. So when you get the keys in your hand, you're not actually scrambling and being like, oh shit, now what? You're ready to open up those doors for the guests right away. All right, so let's actually just start with the basics. The escrow checklist. The escrow checklist is actually something that I provide in the Airbnb acceleration course. So don't think that if you are taking the course, you'll have this information and then you actually won't feel overwhelmed like a lot of people do. So again, if you're taking the course, it's in the document. In the document tab, you'll see the escrow checklist. But if you're not taking the course, then hey, here's a plug. Less than $500. It's literally everything that you need to know from start to finish and how to manage it and automations. And guess what? All this information would literally cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. But I'm here just pretty much giving it away because, hey, that's who I am. But anywho, these are things in the escrow checklist. These are things that cannot be avoided and should not be actually overlooked. First off, you need to not only do the things for making it into an Airbnb, but you still need to fulfill the contingencies. So first is the inspection. This isn't just a quick walkthrough with a general inspector. If you have a well and septic system, get these inspected by a specialist as well, because this can cost you so much money. If there's a fireplace or chimney, learn from me, schedule that and get that inspected and cleaned. The last property that we purchased, the inspector was like, oh yeah, it works. Cool, it worked, but guess what? The fan didn't work. He didn't realize that. And what was happening is the fireplace was getting really hot. There was no like ventilation, and obviously that's a huge hazard. So we just like totally eliminated that. But if we would have known that, well, we would have negotiated that. So even though the inspector's like, yeah, it works, and you just feel like something's off, get it inspected by someone else. The goal here for the inspection isn't just to find like the big deal breakers, but it's also to get a bigger picture of pretty much the property and what you need to budget for, what's going to come up, and what you need to change now in order to pretty much make your Airbnb the best it can be. Nothing kills the launch vibe faster than finding out 2 weeks after closing that you have a septic issue that's going to cost you $15,000. Get this stuff figured out before you close during escrow, and that should be the very first thing that you do right when you get under contract is get all the inspectors in the house, have them do their thing, and then reevaluate the situation with the capital. The second thing that you want to do, and this is actually something that is handled by your lender, is get a appraiser in there, have them figure out the value of the property and figure out, do I need to negotiate further with this home, or can we just move on and continue with the finance contingency? Again, this is usually in the state of Wisconsin. I love how whenever I say that, I always say like a low voice, like in the state of Wisconsin. Anywho, this is usually done by the lender. Again, you don't need to do anything. You do need to pay for it, unfortunately, obviously. But actual like coordination, it's handled. Now, carrying on, and I know we're kind of moving a little fast. I will admit I had way too much coffee and Melanie's in daycare, so life is good and I'm in a very talkative mood, so we're just going to keep on going. The third thing that you should really do when you go under contract is obviously figure out the home insurance. This is something that Clay and I literally just like did not take very seriously. We just figured out, or pretty much just, got home insurance, didn't really look at the terms and just said, yep, that's good. But insurance is another biggie. Regular homeowner insurance is not the same as a short-term rental covered insurance. Many investors find out the hard way, unfortunately. Shop quotes, compare coverages, and have the policy ready before you close. And obviously, you need to have homeowners insurance in order for you to close. So, you need to get this done. Honestly, Clay and I literally changed all of our policies, all of them, because we just kind of like picked a random company every single time that we opened up an Airbnb, and we're just like, yeah, sure. Like we never actually looked at the terms. So he's actually going to go through, talk about all the terms, and it's going to be a very fun podcast episode because he's just a hoot. He's a awesome guy. So that will come soon. Anyways, insurance, yes, get it. And make it have STR terms in there. And if you need help with that, let me know. I have some contacts now. Anywho, all right. The last contingency for a normal Wisconsin offer to purchase is a finance. So double check that you actually have the funds available, meaning that you have enough for the down payment, the closing costs, and some reserves. Some lenders require proof of reserves in addition to what's actually due at the closing. They just want to make sure that, hey, if stuff goes south, you are still able to pay your mortgage and expenses and all the other shenanigans. So obviously, make sure that you are not buying a brand new truck, that you are not opening up any new credit cards or any of that shenanigans, because that will ding your credit. And sometimes, like, people do that and the lender finds out and then they're like, oh, you can't close on that house. So don't be like that. Now, we just covered the obvious non-negotiables. That is everything that you need to do just to close on the property. And that's like the basic stuff. Now let's shift to what most people overlook: prepping your short-term rental while you're under contract. This is where you can make up weeks of time and hit the ground running and launch sooner. And the sooner that you launch, more revenue you will get in your pocket. So don't be slacking. First runner-up: design. Now, I personally hire an interior designer now. Did I do that before? No. It took me property number 3 to make that jump and pay for someone, because honestly, I just don't have time. And I really suck at designing. And I want my Airbnbs to be bold, beautiful, and restless. I think that's a TV show. Or maybe The Bold and Beautiful. I'm not really sure. I just remember my mom like watching a soap opera every single morning while doing the makeup. Anywho, yes, I want my properties to be bold and beautiful. And that is something that I cannot create, but a designer can. So again, first up, designer. I send the property to the designer right away and say, hey, I want this property to have max of 12 people. This is kind of what I'm envisioning, but I'm open-minded. Here are some inspo things like photos, and then she just kind of hits the ground running. Some designers do require Matterport. Matterport is kind of like the 3D virtual walkthrough. You know, it does cost money, but it might help the designer a lot when it comes to placing the furniture and figuring out what fits and what doesn't fit. Because the last thing that you want to do is order all of this stuff and nothing actually fits in the room. For example, I tried doing my own measurements. I was being cheap. I mean, I'm trying to save a couple dollars, This was for the third property. And tried to save a couple dollars. I did my own measurements. Clearly, I'm not good at measurements. And there was a room that is the game room. And I told the designer the measurements. And she's like, oh, perfect. You can fit a pool table in here. And I was like, oh, I don't think so. But I mean, if the measurements make sense, then yeah, let's do it. And then I was thinking more. I was like, God, like, I really don't think a pool table can fit in this room. And then my husband remeasured, and sure shit, it would not fit. So if we did not remeasure, she would literally order like a $3,000 pool table, and there would be no way for that pool table to fit. So measurements matter. Don't be like me. And get Matterport, or just have your husband or, a spouse, whatever, that is actually good at taking measurements, and have them do it instead of, someone that really sucks at measurements. Anywho, that is the story for the designer. Yeah, so contact them, say, hey, let's get her done, and let's make it happen. The second thing that you can do that will make you hit the ground running is buying the essentials right away. This includes the linens, the kitchen packs, the coffee maker, the smart locks, the Wi-Fi router, the TVs, blackout curtains, pretty much any of like the basic items that a designer doesn't have to pick out, like especially like the pots and pans and stuff like that. You can go and buy them or find them at Goodwill and just kind of like stock up on all this stuff. So when you do close on the house, you already have a truckload of stuff to bring to the property, put into the cabinets, and hit the ground running. You'll be shocked on all the things that you need for your Airbnb launch, because like You don't really realize how much kitchen stuff you need to make a amazing meal. Like pots, pans, can openers, cutting boards, obviously plates, bowls, kitchen utensils, cups, plastic cups, like there's a lot. So that will definitely keep you busy on stocking up on all that stuff. Again, when it closes, you can just, hip hop and get her done. I don't know what the hip hop was, but you know what I mean. I have it's called the shop list, and it's literally a huge list on Amazon, and I literally just say like select all, add to cart, and that is like all my basic stuff. I obviously change how many linens I buy because, based off the property. So real quick, and I know I talked about this in other episodes, but I'm in a very talkative mood today. So, real quick with the bedding, I buy 2 to 3 sets per bed. And if you have, oh my gosh, I think our third property has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beds. And I ordered, I think, 15 sets of linens, and it was chaotic. Like I was like, this is wild how many linens I have, and especially like pillow covers and pillow protectors and all that good jazz. I was like, oh my god, like not U-Haul, the Amazon guy is probably gonna be like, who is this chick? Like, is she literally changing her bed every single day? Because I always get this stuff delivered to my personal house, and then we transfer it to the new Airbnb. So the Amazon guy's probably like, dude, this girl's batshit crazy. Which, I mean, I kind of am. So yeah, I always get 2 to 3 sets per bed, and that way the turnover for the cleaner is really fast. Also, I figured out that linens just get messed up and dirty so easily, and like holes and all that, so might as well just have extra. Now, if all that is not keeping you busy enough, the next thing that you can do is start creating a project list. This is something that my husband Clay does. He will go room by room and say all the projects that need to pretty much get done in that room. And then he will sort that out and figure out what is priority, what needs to get done before the other task. Like, for example, if we need to switch out the carpet, obviously we probably want to paint first and then do the carpet, not new carpet and then paint. You know what I mean? So he will kind of do a priority list, and then that way when we close, we get into the house, we know exactly what we need to do right away and in what order, so then we don't feel like very overwhelmed, because trust me, you will get so overwhelmed. I remember our first property, we like walked in, we're like, so now what? And I'm like, there's just too much to do. But it's really nice to kind of have a spreadsheet of like, all right, this job is probably going to take all weekend. Our goal is to finish this job by the end of the weekend, and then so on and so forth. So create that list, make it very organized and aesthetically pleasing. Like, I love looking at aesthetically pleasing spreadsheets. So like, I love color and all that stuff. So that just kind of like warms my heart, and my husband knows that. So whenever he does it, I'm always like, can you just like make this pretty so I actually enjoy looking at this? So yeah, he makes this list, and then we know exactly what to do right when we get into the property. But that also kind of jogs your thought of, oh, we need painting. Like, this room needs to be painted, but I don't want to paint. So that includes hiring a painter. So one of the tasks is call the painter, have him go in, give us a quote, and then hire said painter. I always try to get 2 to 3 quotes from all contractors, because I feel like that they are just like so all over the place when it comes to their price of service. So I always try to at least get 2 to 3 quotes and figure out if painter number 1 is the cheapest, but his, next availability is in 3 months, then, maybe painter number 2 would price match painter number 1. hey, might as well try, right? That's how we got, I think we got $250 off of our hot water tank or hot water heater, because I was like, hey, do you price match? This guy was $250 cheaper. And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, oh, sweet. All right, cool. So don't be afraid to see if people price match. Now, I would really hope that all of that keeps you extremely busy during the escrow period, because in the state of Wisconsin, from the time that you get an accepted offer to closing, it's usually around like the 30 to 45 day mark. And if you go through all the contingencies, you find, hire, and talk to your designer, you buy and find all the basic essentials for the Airbnb and do the project list and figure out contractors, like, you will be so set up for success when you get those keys and you know exactly what to do when you get into the home, because I will guarantee you will feel overwhelmed. Everyone does. Shoot, I do. Even with like Clay's fancy spreadsheet, I'm always like, oh boy, like, now what? So hopefully all of that will actually keep you busy. And if you are still in need of wanting to do more, just reach out. I can probably give you other tasks, like I'm your boss. I'm not even your boss. But I can give you other ideas. There we go. Ideas of some things that you can do to prep even further. But I am literally in the middle of going through all of this myself. Clay is creating the project spreadsheet right now. I am buying the essentials. And also, side note, the store at home in Madison they have like a closeout sale right now. I like walked in and I was like, oh my God, I feel so overwhelmed, because I usually just buy everything off of the Amazon like checklist that I have. I just felt like going to the store and just like physically touching products. So I did that, and everyone was like looking at me because my cart was so full. Plus, I had baby Melanie in there, and she was in the car seat, and the car seat was in the cart. So everyone's like, oh, a baby's in there. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of like totally burying her right now. But she's good. She's happy. She has her toys. And yeah, so I am going through all of this right now. And let me tell you, I can prep so much. Dude, I teach this stuff to you, and I still feel overwhelmed, because I want to hit the ground running right when this property closes. The faster we can get it up on Airbnb, the faster we get revenue, and, life is good. Plus, this one is done with partners, and their wedding is in December. We close on this property October 10th, and our estimated time to launch the Airbnb is December 1st. Their wedding is, I believe, middle of December. So I want to get this done before their wedding so they don't feel stressed. I don't feel stressed. And then Clay and I can go to Texas, just like having the time of our lives, knowing that our Airbnb is up, running, and, being smooth as possible, because that's just what we do. Yeah. So I'm going through all the things. So I hope that I didn't talk your ear off too much. I know I'm talking really fast, I'm not going to lie, and just put just so much information in your ear. But if you have any questions, as always, please reach out. And if you are interested in the Airbnb Roadmap Acceleration course, trust me, it is so worth it. And you don't want to miss out on it. And it's pretty cheap for a shit ton of education. So reach out. I can send you the link. But till next time, I will see you in the next episode of the Airbnb Roadmap podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Airbnb Roadmap. If you're loving these episodes and want to keep the conversation going, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who's ready to dive into the world of short-term rentals. Got a question or topic you would love to hear about? Reach out. This podcast is all about learning and growing together. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the Airbnb Roadmap Podcast, for more tips, tricks, and behind-the-scene insights. Until next time, here's to turning your short-term rental dreams into thriving realities. I'll see you back here soon.